Alright, what's up guys? So today we're going to be talking about the 5 games that I'm most excited for that are coming in March. It's March 1st today. Time is flying by, and there is so many great games coming out the last while, and it's not going to stop in March. There's quite a few great looking games that I'm excited for. I'd call this a relatively stacked month, and we're going to discuss the 5 that I'm personally most excited for. It's not like the 5 biggest or anything, just the ones that I'm personally kind of hyped for. Now, I'm not doing it in any kind of order of least excited to most excited. I'm just doing it in order of release date. So starting on March, I was gonna say February, on March 7th is a game called Taxi Life, a city driving simulator. So in Taxi Life, a city driving simulator, you arrive in Barcelona with nothing but a car and a dream. You have to drive around the busy streets of the famous city of Barcelona, which is a 1-to-1 scale of Barcelona, 286 miles, so that is quite impressive. But basically you have to transport passengers around with impeccable service, as a taxi driver does. You have to keep your stars up, you gotta follow the rules of the road of the rules, I was saying. You gotta follow the rules of the road, you gotta deal with impatient tourists, changing weather, and rush hours. So you have to adapt your routes to avoid traffic jams and accidents. And most of all, ensure your clients are pleased with your service to earn the best ratings and the most generous tips. I just think the whole concept of this game is something that I'm definitely interested in. Like, the pressure of it all sounds really fun, and I'm definitely excited to kind of see how the different routes I can take, how fast I can go without kind of upsetting the passenger in the back or something like that. So basically you can use your experience points that you unlock to get new skills, such as the ability to accept longer fares, etc. You can then use the money that you earn to buy new cars with the profits. You can hire employees based on their profiles and assign them to cars. So basically you're turning this into a big business rather than just you being the lone taxi driver, which is really, really cool. So you're coming to Barcelona, as it says, with nothing, and you're trying to establish a business for yourself. And you just got to keep the clients happy. You got to keep getting them there in time, personalizing your taxi to make sure that it's in line with the standards that I guess these passengers would expect. That includes cleaning your car, keeping it up to date to make sure that it doesn't have any damage, and overall just sounds like a really, really fun time. I'm excited to check out City Life Driving Simulator. This is the first game that I'm probably going to pick up in February, and it's one that I'm definitely keenly keeping my eye on the reviews to see what's going to happen with it. But hopefully I'll get a copy of it and be showing you guys the game off on the channel at some point soon. Now, after Taxi Life, we move to a week later on March 14th, where we are going to be getting the Star Wars Classic Collection, Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection, rather. Now, I never played these games in the past, but seeing some gameplay and hearing the things that I'm hearing about these games, it definitely has me kind of excited to check it out. Now, the Classic Collection has Star Wars Battlefront the Classic and Star Wars Battlefront 2, and on top of having the 2 campaigns from those games, it also has the multiplayer. So as I said, you can play the campaigns, you can do what you want to do single player wise with both games. You can experience the iconic battles from Star Wars episodes 1 to 4 in the Star Wars Battlefront campaign, and then in the Star Wars Battlefront 2 campaign you can join the rise of Darth Vader's elite 501st Legion of Stormtroopers. And then I think what mainly people will be excited for is the massive locations with up to 64 player multiplayer online. Now you can fight on the ground as Wookiee warriors, jet troopers, and droid Ekkas. You can drive iconic vehicles like speeder bikes, ATSTs and ATRTs, and then pilot legendary starships like TIE fighters, X-Wings, and more. So you can do kind of space and air dogfights. Now, it does just sound like a whole lot of fun. Of course, you can play on the ground as well, and there's ground maps like Death Star, Kashyyyk, Kamino, and Naboo for the first time ever, and you can fight with heroes like Mace Windu, Yoda, Luke Skywalker, and of course the likes of Darth Maul, General Grievous, Darth Vader, and all the villains of Star Wars as well. So it seems like just a really big package, and you can get it for as little as 30 bucks, I think. So it's kind of similar, I guess, to the Tomb Raider Classic Collection that just came out. You're almost getting 3 games in one for 30 bucks, and I say 3 games in one because you have the multiplayer in this as well. In Tomb Raider you actually have the 3 games, but yeah, I think I'm gonna check it out. As I said, never been too into Star Wars personally, but I really like the Star Wars games that I've played recently, the modern takes on them, like Star Wars, what's it called? Jedi Survivor. Really like those Jedi games, and yeah, I'll definitely check it out and see what it's all about, because I've heard good things about these. People are excited about it, and I wouldn't mind checking it out for myself. Next up on March 20th is Alone in the Dark. You return to Dorcito Manor in this reimagination of Alone in the Dark, a love letter to the 90s cult classic horror game. Now, it's not a reboot or a remake or anything. It's more of a reimagination of the game. I've never played the original. I know next to nothing about Alone in the Dark, but I did check out this demo, and the vibes of the game seem really interesting. You've got two big actors in it as well, in David Harbour and Jodie Comer, and they seem to be really well done in the game as well. Like, it's not like it's just a cheap rendition of them. This is really well done in terms of the I was gonna say CGI, in terms of the animations that they do in the game and stuff. It seems to be really well done. So I'll give you guys a few bullet points that they have here on the game. So basically with this game, they want to return to the roots of psychological horror and experience an atmospheric journey worthy of the game that started the genre. Dive into a world full of sounds that make your skin crawl with a haunting yet mesmerizing doom jazz soundtrack. Enjoy the thrill of desperate survival in a world where reality starts to crumble. Evil lurks in every shadow and ammunition is scarce. Full stop. Experience this nightmare from either Emily Hartwood's or Edward Carnby's perspective and unearth the dark secrets of a gothic mansion. So Emily Hartwood would be Jodie Comer, and Edward Carnby would be David Harbour, of course. Now, they want you to immerse yourself in a deep psychological story that goes beyond the realms of the imaginable by Mikhail Hedberg, cult horror writer of Soma and Amnesia. Now, that does get me excited, because I thought Soma was phenomenally underrated. I really liked Soma as a horror game. That was one of the earlier horror games that I played when I started my YouTube channel, and yeah, I had a blast with that one. Never really got into Amnesia. I don't think I've played a single Amnesia game for more than 30 minutes or something like that. So yeah, it should be interesting. But overall, we'll see if this one comes through. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people excited for this, so we'll see if it lives up to the hype. Now, next up, we're going to talk about two games that are coming out 22nd of March. First is Dragon's Dogma 2. And this is a game that I think looks absolutely phenomenal. Dragon's Dogma 2 is a single-player, narrative-driven action RPG that challenges the players to choose their own experience. From the appearance of their arisen, their vocation, their party, how to approach different situations, and more. It's a truly immersive fantasy world, is what they have said here. Now, I played the first Dragon's Dogma extensively. I don't think I ever completed it. I played like 10 to 12 hours of Dragon's Dogma, and I don't know that I ever finished it. Maybe I did way back in the day and I just don't remember, but I tried to play it again recently. I do think it's a little dated, Dragon's Dogma, but the new one here just looks incredible. The graphics, the boss fights, the kind of vocations that they do in the game look just like a whole lot of fun, man. And I'm probably gonna check this out. And now the other problem is it comes out the same day as this other game we're gonna talk about next, but I mean, I think I want to play both. That's the crazy thing. Now, in Dragon's Dogma 2, you will be joined by pawns, which are mysterious otherworldly beings. Now, they are basically used to basically be a companion on your journey. And you can choose the vocations of these pawns, and that's the way it was in Dragon's Dogma anyway. I assume it'll be much the same in this game, or used in a similar way. But yeah, so what I've seen of the gameplay, the boss fights, everything just looks absolutely epic, you know? The variety of the monsters that they've shown looks really cool. Like, you have that big eagle looking thing, you have the trolls. It just, oh man, it turns something on inside of me, you know? That sounds weird, but I mean, it does. It looks incredible. Dragon's Dogma 2 is coming March 22nd. Let me know on this list which game you're most excited for. We're going to talk about the last game now, which is the other game coming out on March 22nd. It's such a shame they're coming out on the same day. I really wish they weren't. But the other game is Rise of the Ronin. Rise of the Ronin is basically a new action-adventure samurai game, and I kind of started this game like not too excited, but the more it went on and the more I saw of this game, the more excited I'm getting. So in Rise of the Ronin, you'll embark on an epic journey across war-torn 19th century Japan, and you'll be focusing on combat from a team that have worked on Neo and Ninja Gaiden in the past. Now, of course, the combat, from what we've seen, looks really cool. You have guns, you have different styles. You have basically the sword and the gun, you have the sword samurai style, of course, and you have that little grappling hook that helps you get around the world. But the premise of the story is in 1863, after 3 centuries of the shogunite's oppressive rule, the black ships of the West descend upon the nation's borders and the country falls into a state of turmoil. Amidst the chaos of war, disease, and political unrest, a nameless warrior forges their own path, holding the very fate of Japan in their hands. And of course, you are this nameless warrior. You are a masterless samurai. You are a masterless samurai, which is basically known as a Ronin, and your destiny is your own. You're going to be making different choices throughout the game that will impact the story and actually shape the course of history throughout this game, which I think is such a cool concept. There'll be critical missions in the game where you have to choose whether to assassinate or protect key figures, and that will be kind of the thing that helps shape history. And there's a rich multi-choice system is what they say as well. Now, in this game, you will be exploring an authentic world. The Bakumatsu period heralds the end of the shogunate as a new era begins and East and West collide. Experience this cultural revolution across an open world where you'll meet the key figures who will shape the course of history and the ordinary citizens seeking a guiding light in the darkness. You'll engage in deep, accessible combat in this game as well. As I mentioned earlier, this is from the developers of Nioh and Ninja Gaiden. It doesn't really seem like it's going to be a game that's as hard as Nioh. I played Nioh and I couldn't get past the first level. It's just a ridiculously challenging game. It's kind of on the level of those Souls games. I found it even harder than the Souls games, to be honest. The combat, they do say, has layers of complexity suitable for any playstyle. So you'll face your foes with a selection of close quarters weaponry or engage from afar with authentic period firearms. Overall, I think this is the game that I'm most excited for in March. I just think the style of it and the gameplay, as I've seen more, the movement, the way you kind of go around, you can glide through the world with that big glider you have above you. I just think that this looks really, really cool and I'm excited for it. So let me know what game you're most excited for out of the games I mentioned here, and I'd be very curious to hear if there's a game maybe that's not on my list that you're excited for. I know there's a couple of games coming out. I think I have it on my list here, a couple of games that I skipped over, like MLB The Show, As Dusk Falls is coming to PlayStation, Reveal is coming to PlayStation 5. Yeah, there's a few games that I didn't mention. Open Roads is coming out later in the month as well, which I thought that game looked pretty cool. It just missed the cut. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Let me know if you're excited for multiple of these games. Maybe I'm excited for all of the ones I mentioned. Obviously, that's why I mentioned them. But see you next time. It's been my pleasure to serve you all. Peace out, folks. And I will have a podcast episode with Maximus Primus going live, episode 1 of the podcast. It was kind of an accidental podcast. We were talking about the games we played in February, but it turned into a big 1 hour 40-minute video, so we just decided to make it into a little podcast. So that'll be going up later today as well, and I'll see you guys next time. Pleasure to serve you all. Peace out.